Get ready for Benjamin Knight Fuchs Live. Hey, Ben, how's it going?
What's up, my friend Liam? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Happy Sunday. These weeks are flying by. Oh my God.
Yeah, Christmas is just coming too quick this year.
Yeah, and then 2025, and then another year around the sun, Liam.
Another year around the sun. This one was an especially quick one. And they say if you're having a good time, time seems shorter. So I don't know what.
I think that's right. So that means you're having a good time. I feel like I'm having a good time, but they also say as you get older, time goes by faster.
Yeah.
Right? That's because every year is a smaller and smaller percentage of your total life.
I didn't think of it like that.
Right? At 64 now, 1 year is like not even 2% of my life. It's like
wow,
1 point something of my life. But
when
you're 30, a year is 3% of your life.
That's true.
Or something. So
and when you're 10, it's 10% of your life. Yeah,
that's right. When you're older, it seems like years, even months, seem like they go. The school year, it's only 8 or 9 months. It seems like it goes forever. It seems like weeks go forever and weekends go forever. And speaking of aging, we're going to talk about this, probably the most important thing you could do, if not the most, certainly one of the most important things you could do to not only slow down the aging process, but also to reduce the markers of pretty much all inflammatory issues. Of course, it involves food, which is the most important and powerful daily intervention that the human body has to deal with, is the stuff that you put in. Even think about it. Every day, 3 times a day, or sometimes more than 3 times a day for a lot of folks. Sometimes, if you include snacking throughout the day, the body is being invaded by foreign substances that it has to deal with. Not just foreign substances, but foreign substances that are often poisonous and foreign substances that are metabolically or energetically, if you prefer, like nuclear bombs.
Sure.
That's really what's happening in the body. So this is what accounts for most of our chronic degenerative diseases. The heavy input of high energy chronically, burning out the mitochondria, creating sparks and free radicals. And that's why every study that's ever been done on aging shows that when you reduce your calories, you live longer. It's called the CRON diet, calorie restriction, optimum nutrition. And along those lines, today we're going to talk about one of the most powerful ways to leverage the CRON diet, the calorie restriction with optimum nutrition diet. Although people don't really think of this strategy, this eating protocol or dietary protocol, as being a low-calorie, low-energy protocol, but it is. And that, of course, is the ketogenic diet. And, when I've been researching the ketogenic diet for a long time, the ketogenic diet, by the way, was developed first and foremost as a fasting diet. I'll explain what I mean by that. But most of the downside, and if you get online and do research on the ketogenic diet, you'll see the mainstream medical folks, the mainstream medical model, and mainstream medical researchers, they're not exactly thrilled about the ketogenic diet.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Negative stuff because they don't understand the most important part of the ketogenic diet. Average people who do the ketogenic diet don't really understand the most important facet of the ketogenic diet. Medical professionals oftentimes don't understand the most powerful aspect of the ketogenic diet. Even alternative healthcare practitioners oftentimes, the ones I talk to, don't understand or don't appreciate the most important part, the most important aspect of the ketogenic diet, really what accounts for its tremendous, as we'll see, therapeutic value. And that is, well, let me ask you this, Liam.
Yes.
When you think of the ketogenic diet, what's the first thing you think of?
I think of healthy fat, avocados, healthy fats.
You think of fats, right? That's what most people think. Yeah. The fats. And what's the second thing you probably think of? Low
sugar, low carbohydrates.
That's what most people say. Low carb, high fat. And that's the most prominent or the most dramatic or the sexiest aspect of the ketogenic diet. I can eat lots of fat. I just got to keep my carbohydrates down. Some people do the ketogenic diet. The thinking is, and even medical professionals, this is what the researchers who are down on the ketogenic diet think, bacon and eggs and fries and lots of butter and cheese and dairy and, eggs and all the fish and meat and
all the good stuff.
The good stuff, right? The fun stuff. And okay, I can't eat the bread, or I can't eat the pasta, or I can't eat the rice, but I can go to town on the burgers and the cheese, as long as I don't have the bun, and that's not what the ketogenic diet is. And this is why the medical professionals who are down on the ketogenic diet, this is what they miss. The ketogenic diet is, yes, it's a high fat, it's a low carb diet, but it's a high percentage of your, it's not high fat, it's a high percentage of your overall daily intake of calories of fat, and a low percentage of your overall daily intake of calories of carbs. And then they say moderate protein. But really, it's not the total amount of fat, it's the percentage of fat. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is it doesn't mean you can eat a lot of bacon and a lot of cheese. It means that of your caloric intake, a huge chunk of that caloric intake should be fat. But the issue is the caloric intake total has to be low. It's a low calorie diet. It's a 1,200 or it's 1,000 to 1,200 calorie diet. It's not that you can eat abundant fat. It's that of that 1,000 to 1,200 calories, 80 to 90% is going to be fat.
Okay.
So what's 90%? Let's just say 1,000 calories, just to keep the numbers even. That means 900 of those 1,000 calories, or 800 to 900 of those 1,000 calories are fat. But that doesn't mean you can have a cheeseburger, because all a cheeseburger is going to be 1,200 calories total with the bun and the meat and the cheese, or something along those lines. The double cheeseburger is probably about 1,200 calories. A single cheeseburger is probably made 600 or 700 calories, something along those lines. So it doesn't mean you can eat all the fat you want. It means that you have to keep your calories very low, and of those low calories, a high percentage is fat. And when you eat that way, it's the perfect way to eat. The ketogenic diet, which is now called, the correct term for the ketogenic diet is called the VLCKD. Medical folks love acronyms. The VLCKD replaces the KD. The KD is the ketogenic diet. Now they call it the VLC, very low calorie ketogenic diet.
All right.
That's now the term that's being used to help people understand that the ketogenic diet has to be low calorie, and much of its power comes from the low calorie. Now, the fats are also important because fats give in the presence, or without the presence of carbs, fats generate something called ketones, one in particular, which are super powerful sources of energy that the body can use for sustained release energy rather than quick energy. The body prefers quick energy, and it's evolved to use sugar. So when there's not a lot of quality fats around and there's plenty of sugar around, the body's going to go for sugar. But if you can redirect the body to fat burning by eliminating the sugar, the body won't have an option. It'll use the fat, and those fats produce, when they're metabolized, produce these ketones, or technically they call them ketone bodies. And these ketone bodies are very, very efficient and powerful sources of energy. Not as quick as sugar, but much more efficient and sustained. And this is what makes the generation of ketones, or the ketogenic diet, meaning the generation of ketones diet, especially important for the brain and the heart. And also probably you could throw the immune system in there too, because the brain and the heart and the immune system they're working hard. The nervous system, not just the brain, the nervous system, the immune system, and the cardiovascular system. Those are the three systems that benefit the most from the ketogenic diet, because they're the ones that are burning through most energy, and those are the ones that benefit from the generation of ketones the most. Now, the whole system will benefit, and I firmly believe that the ketogenic diet is the best way for a human being to eat.
Okay.
And if you ever hear negative stuff about it, notice that the people who are saying negative stuff about it are misunderstanding the VLC part, or not taking into account the VLC part of the ketogenic diet, the very low calorie ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet, as I said earlier, is a diet that is designed to duplicate the chemistry of fasting. It was noticed in the 1900s, in the early 1900s, the late 1800s, when they really started to study nutrition, they noticed that there was a very powerful historic relationship between seizure disorders and fasting, or between the reduction of seizure disorders and fasting. And researchers were very fascinated by the idea that you could reduce seizures by fasting. They wanted to know what was going on. And so they started to study, and they saw that when you fast, your body generates certain molecules that the brain can use efficiently that help reduce its predisposition to seizures in certain people. And they were kind of fascinated by this. And they said, okay, we know fasting from a historical perspective for thousands of years has been used as an anti-seizure treatment. And we know that when medical professionals use fasting for seizures in the more modern times at the late 19th century, early 20th century. They noticed that there was a reduction in seizure disorders, but they felt like people didn't want to fast. Fasting, you have to eat. Fasting was kind of a difficult thing for people to do. So they started to study the chemistry of fasting, what happens to the body when fasting occurs. And they noticed that when you fast, you don't put food in your mouth, in your body has no choice but to burn fat, right? It has the only way to get calories to burn fat. And they found that when the body was fat in a fasting state and burned fat, these ketones, these chemicals called ketones, were generated. And then they said, oh my gosh, it's the ketones that are exerting the anti-seizure benefits. How can we generate ketones without fasting? Because people didn't want to fast. Thus was born the ketogenic diet. They saw that if you keep carbs out, but you put fat in, the body will go to the fat and you'll duplicate the chemistry of fasting. The ketogenic diet was developed to duplicate the chemistry, the biochemistry of fasting for people who had seizures. And to this day,
sounds like a great selling point. I don't know why we don't hear that more.
To this day, the ketogenic diet is considered an alternative seizure therapy for folks who don't get results from ordinary seizure medicine. Ordinary seizure medicines like Dilantin and Tegretol, by the way, are very, very toxic, and they don't always work. And so the ketogenic diet is used to this day as a treatment for people who don't get official medical treatment for folks who aren't getting results from using anti-seizure medicine. So the ketogenic diet is well regarded, well respected, has a long history for treating seizure disorders, which it was actually developed for. But as it turns out, the ketogenic diet is good for a lot more than just seizures. Put the first slide up.
Sure.
This is from the journal Nutrients from 2023, the potential health benefits of the ketogenic diet. I'm going to try to get my light on here without messing anything up too much. This is, let's see, Nutrients 2021. Ketogenic diet has helped patients with diabetes. Remember, it's a low-carb diet. You're generating your energy from fats and not from sugar. It's helped patients with diabetes reduce their hemoglobin A1C and reduce their need for insulin. The reading between the lines, it's clear that the ketogenic diet can reduce the need, can help folks who have diabetes lower their insulin intake. But this shows you how powerful diet is when it comes to treating dysglycemia and diabetes, even for patients on insulin. And I've seen more patients than I can count, dozens, if not hundreds of patients, get off their insulin. First, reduce their insulin, then get off their insulin simply by changing their diets. If you're diabetic and you're on insulin, understand that you can reduce your need for insulin and even completely eliminate your need for insulin through dietary strategies like the ketogenic diet. And make no mistake about it, insulin will accelerate the aging process and is very pro-inflammatory and pro-cancer on its own. So if you think that you can eat anything you want, you're just going to stick yourself with insulin, if you're diabetic, you should understand insulin's got a whole host of health issues associated with its with high insulin levels, when its levels are high, that are just as bad as dysglycemia, or if not just as bad, nearly as bad as messed up blood sugar. Going on, ketogenic diet can help with weight loss, visceral adiposity, that means visceral fat, appetite control. The ketogenic diet can help with appetite control. It's an appetite suppressant, and that's because ketone bodies suppress the appetite at the level of the brain. These molecules that are secreted when you follow the ketogenic diet eating plan. The evidence also suggests that eating a high-fat diet improves lipid profiles. Isn't this interesting? Eating a high-fat diet improves lipid profiles by lowering LDL, increasing HDL, and lowering triglycerides. Now, they say a high-fat diet. They really mean a high percentage of your calories coming from fat. Further, due to the Warburg effect, this is Dr. Otto Warburg's observation on the relationship between lack of oxygen and cancer. Due to the Warburg effect, the ketogenic diet is used as an adjuvant and an accessory treatment to starve cancer cells, making them more valuable for chemotherapy and radiation. Liam, people, this is the ketogenic diet. This is simply a dietary strategy that involves eating less calories and making sure a higher percentage of those calories come from quality fats, which we'll tell you about here in a second. Next one. Okay, here. This is from the journal Frontiers in Nutrition from September 2024. It's a couple months ago. This case report. Ketogenic diet for the treatment of irritable bowel disease. And this also is the ketogenic diet, the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet is a high protein diet and animal protein, that is, carnivore. I'm not a big believer in the carnivore diet, but for a lot of people who have intestinal problems, they can track those intestinal problems to what are called lectins, or plant defense molecules that are found in grains and vegetables. So a lot of times when people go carnivore, they get benefits, even though, strictly speaking, the carnivore diet is not a great way to eat because you're not going to get fiber, you're not going to get phytonutrients, you're not going to get vitamin C. But for people who are having reactions to grains, the carnivore diet sometimes is beneficial. Ketogenic and carnivore diets hold promise for the treatment of irritable bowel diseases, including UC, ulcerative colitis, and Crohn's disease. This was a study on 10 patients. These cases are consistent with clinical literature that shows an inverse association between intestinal ketones and irritable bowel disease. That means the higher your intestinal ketones, the lower your symptoms of irritable bowel disease, as well as the therapeutic effects of what we call the elimination diet, which is basically eliminating problematic foods, which oftentimes are grains and vegetables. Next, the role of the gut microbiome on the beneficial effects of the ketogenic diet. It's now thought that changes in the population, the specific population of bacteria, the different species of bacteria, and the number of bacteria of different species of bacteria in the gut may underlie the beneficial effects, or at least some of the beneficial effects. This is from the journal Nutrients, 2022. The ketogenic diet has gained popularity over the years due to its effects on promoting weight loss, increasing insulin sensitivity, and reducing dyslipidemia, that is disturbed blood fats. All of these factors play a crucial role in the development of CVD, cardiovascular diseases, metabolic diseases like diabetes and dysglycemia, the greatest health challenges of our time. Moreover, the ketogenic diet has been known to reduce epileptic seizures. It is still poorly understood how following a ketogenic diet can lead to all of these wonderful beneficial effects. I added the word wonderful. However, in recent years, it's become clear that the diet and the gut microbiome interact with one another and thus influence host health. So now we see that in addition to all the other benefits, you get benefits at the level of the intestine, which is the first point in the triangle of disease. So it's always going to be in your interest to do, which is always going to be in your interest to do it. Again, underscoring or highlighting the health relevance of the ketogenic diet just as an ordinary way of eating, even if you're not dealing with a full-blown health challenge. Next study. This is from the journal Diabetes, from the journal Metabolic Syndrome. Effective ketogenic diet on obesity and other metabolic disorders. A ketogenic diet has a more useful effect on obesity than other diets. Duh. The mechanism behind the ketogenic diet is still unknown, although it helps people with obesity lose weight. It's, they say it's unknown, but you can rest assured it has a lot to do with the fact that you're not putting as much energy into the body, and the energy you're putting into the body is more concentrated, so the body can use it more effectively and in a more sustained release fashion. Plus, now we know that the microbiome or the gut bacteria benefit as well. Next study. Nutritional intervention, Cushing's disease. Cushing's disease is a disease where you make too much cortisol. You don't have to have full-blown Cushing's disease to make too much cortisol. It could just be a result of a lot of stress in your life or inflammation inside the body, or the first 2 points on the triangle of disease, the digestive system and the blood sugar system. This is from the journal Nutrients, 2023. A very low-calorie ketogenic diet, that's what I'm saying, this is now what they're calling it, the VLCKD, is associated with improvement in metabolic and cardiovascular disorders, a significant decrease in BMI, that's body mass index, circumference, systolic blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure, cortisol levels, total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol. These are all benefits of the ketogenic diet. A significant increase in HDL, a decrease in LDL. Conclusions: the current study confirms that a ketogenic diet is effective in improving metabolic disorders in cardiovascular disease, but it's going to be good for all metabolic disorders, and shows that a nutritional approach may be combined with conventional therapy in order to improve metabolic and cardiovascular comorbidities. They say you got to add the ketogenic diet in with conventional therapy. I wouldn't pay attention to that. They're just tooting their own horn here and trying to make themselves look a little bit better, because it really is the ketogenic diet that's going to do the work. you want to wean yourself off, in my opinion anyway, you want to wean yourself off the conventional CD therapy, at least if you can. All right, next, this is on autoimmunity. The next one. This one is on autoimmunity. This is from the University of California at San Francisco. The ketogenic diet may help autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis by dampening an overactive immune response. Basically, when you eat calories, you're putting fuel on the immune system fire. When you restrict your calories, ketogenic diet, you reduce, lower the fuel. You put less fuel on the fire, calories being fuel. That's basically the secret to the ketogenic diet. And I've always said this, all autoimmune diseases need to be backtracked to the digestive system. Low calories, one benefit of the ketogenic diet, but also if you're using the ketogenic diet, not only are you going to be low calorie, but you're very likely going to be putting less pro-inflammatory foods into your bodies, especially pro-inflammatory carbohydrates. So it's got multiple benefits, basically by helping support health at the level of the intestine. All autoimmune diseases should always be backtracked to the intestine and thus to foods. Next article, this one is on Alzheimer's disease, cognitive tests administered during a study. This is a study that was done on folks, 10 participants with mild AD, Alzheimer's disease, followed the ketogenic diet for 3 months. Standard cognitive tests administered during the study showed cognitive scores significantly improved. Again, reading between the lines, yes, the main point here is that the ketogenic diet helps folks with Alzheimer's disease, but reading between the lines, it means that people who have dementia can improve their cognitive symptomology by changing their diet. That's between the lines. So it's not just the ketogenic diet, it's this general idea that what we eat has a tremendous effect on our symptoms, be they neurological symptoms or immune system or cardiovascular system symptoms or metabolic symptoms. It's not just the fact that the ketogenic diet is beneficial, it's the fact that in general, there are important implications for good or for bad when it comes to how we eat relating to our health challenge, our health symptoms and our health challenges. And the last study, this one is on skin, which is my favorite organ, as you all know. The ketogenic diet and dermatology, a primer on current literature. New literature showing, this is from the journal Cutis, which is one of the most important dermatological journals for researchers, 2020. New literature showing promising potential roles for the ketogenic diet as therapy, particularly in the realm of inflammatory disorders, metabolic diseases, and malignancy, specifically when it comes to acne. A ketogenic diet could help ameliorate acne because it results in very little insulin secretion, unlike the typical Western diet, which causes large spikes of insulin. In terms of diabetic skin diseases, lowering a patient's insulin resistance through a ketogenic diet may help prevent or treat diabetic skin conditions, and then when it comes to skin cancer. There are several studies of the effects of the ketogenic diet on malignancy, and although none of these studies are substantial size, they show that a ketogenic diet can halt or even reverse tumor growth in the journal Cutis in 2020. So you can see there's all kinds of health benefits for this very simple, elegant dietary modification. This very easy way to eat, low calorie, concentrate on fats. And so how do you do it? Well, first of all, low calories, as I said, 1,000 to 1,200 calories sounds low because the standard American diet is around standard American diet contains around 3,000 calories. So I'm at a third of that, but it's really not that difficult to eat 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day, especially if you're drinking lots of water. And that's kind of a little hack that you can use if you're trying to lower your calories and you're feeling like you want to snack a lot. Drink a liter of water every few hours, gallon of water a day. There's 4 liters in a gallon. So drink a liter of water, say every 4 hours or 6 hours or 3 hours or something along those lines till you get 4 liters a day. And then sip or snack, if you will, on water. And that can have a filling effect if you're really determined to keep your caloric intake down. When it comes to fats, you mentioned a couple, Liam, earlier. Avocados are a great fat. Eggs are an awesome fat, even though we don't think of that. Don't fry your eggs or heat them up too much because you can disturb the fats, and disturbed fats are very problematic. All fats, not just in eggs, but in veggies, especially vegetable oils. So there's recently been a move to have McDonald's fries go back to tallow from vegetable oil. I don't know if you remember. I don't remember they were making a big deal about 20 years ago about, oh, we don't use beef tallow anymore. We use vegetable oil. Well, vegetable oil is a disaster for the
Right.
cardiovascular system, for cell membranes, for the immune system. Big problems. You want to stay away from any kind of processed vegetable oil, but coconut oil is good and butter's good. And if you do want, you like the taste for salad of a vegetable oil, get olive oil that's in a dark bottle that's covered with paper. So it's kept dark and it's kept in the fridge and it's fresh and it's extra virgin and it's cold pressed. Still, you want to keep your intake of seed oils and olive oil, which I don't think it's not really a seed oil, but vegetable oils or fruit oils. Olives are fruit. You want to keep. You don't want a lot of those. Coconut oil and butter are great.
Right, because
particular.
don't seed oils metabolize into like carcinogens?
Heated vegetable oils are carcinogenic. Absolutely. And they're very pro-inflammatory. They're horrible. So you want to be really careful about that. But avocados, eggs, saturated fats that you found in fish, meat, as long as they're not overcooked, of course. And then also nutritional oils like Udo's Blend or oils that come in capsules. Those are essential fatty acid rich oils. Those are good. Be careful of GMO oils. But really, your best source is going to be foods like fish, avocados, eggs, fatty. When it comes to fish, fatty fish, like things like tuna, that have a lot of fat in them. And then what else? What are some other? Dairy, raw milk, butter is great, and then coconut oil. So you want to keep your calories to around 1,000, 1,200, and your fat intake somewhere between 800, I'd say 750 to 800, 750 to 900 calories a day. That's a lot. Well, 100 calories for carbs and protein.
You're definitely resonating with the audience. We have a comment from
Yes. From who?
Diana Lee. Looking hot, Ben.
Is that right, Anna Lee? Thank you, Anna Lee. Is that
Diana Lee.
Diana Lee. Oh, Diana's on. Hi, Diana. All right. Well, that's my talk on the ketogenic diet. The best way for a human being to eat, in my humble opinion. And then I guess that's it. Anything else you want to add?
Learned a lot. That's a great acronym. As easy as ABC VLCKD.
VLCKD, very low calorie ketogenic.
Yes. So that's a great acronym to define it for people who don't know, because so many people don't know.
All right. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week, Mr. Liam.
You too, Ben.
Thank you, everybody who's watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for the comments.
In our time capsule. And I'll talk to you next Sunday.
We'll see you next Sunday. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.